Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a couple charts for us to go through real quick so that we can have a plan going into next week. Right now, I have the SPY 1 hour chart up and I have the Heikin-Ashi candles on right now just so you can see the clearness of this trend and how SPY has been respecting this trend line. I also took the EMAs off just so we can be able to see this. Going into next week, we want to be able to make sure for calls that we can break through this trend line. And once we break through it, you want to play your regular support and resistance lines up, like level to level. You don't want to get caught holding anything too long. It's okay to enter, take profit, and re-enter as needed. But you just don't want to hold profit and then get caught up in one of these other levels. So let's take a look at the SPY daily real quick. I switched the candles back and I put the EMAs up here just so we can walk through what happened. Right now on the daily, SPY is below all my EMAs, which is a super bearish sign. We also have a 921 cross. That's also a bearish sign. The last thing that can help SPY out for an upside is for it to get back into this trend line here. This trend goes back to that October low of 348.50. I think there was CPI data that made the market tank in pre-market, and that was our low for last year. But what I did was created a trend line from there. We got some touches here in December and we bounced off of that trend line and now we're back at it. We are below it right now. So we're below that level right now. And what we're looking for is whether SPY can somehow reclaim this levels and get back into this trend line on Monday. If not, we needed to break the 393 for more downside. And what I'm saying this is with what we're doing here is multiple time frame analysis. So the daily always gives the bigger picture. That's why I always give daily chart analysis each week. However, when we were looking at our 1 hour chart just a few minutes ago, it gave a clearer path using that trend line. The last thing I want to point out on SPY is our weekly. So let's take our multiple time frame analysis up a level and let's remove all drawings real quick. So I want to bring us back to that monster trend line that everyone was watching for, over a year. We kept watching SPY reject it and reject it and go lower, reject it and go lower. I'm bringing this back up because we are back at that trend line. So that's another thing for the downside. We need to get below that trend line. So that's something to watch. Keep an eye on it. Always watch your weekly candle on Friday because that's when it's going to close and give you that final candle. Also on the weekly, we've crossed our EMAs. So we had closed below 921 and 50 on the weekly. So all of this stuff is definitely bearish for SPY, but there's just a couple points of support that can help push it up. It just needs to go ahead and go if it's going to go. So that's our weekly chart analysis, our daily analysis, and our 1 hour. That 1 hour is always going to give you the quicker entry, the quicker play on how to gauge whether we're going to go up or we're going to continue down. So there are some strong levels that we need to hold below to continue down, but definitely for the upside, we want to make sure we get above this trend line and at 396 resistance, and then you play levels up. So it's okay to scalp these, and when you get into your scalps, that's when you go down to your 5 minute, your 3 minute, and you take quicker entries and exits. So let's say you take a quick entry at 396 for calls, you exit at 398-ish, and you check your 1 hour to see, okay, well, are we holding that level again? We hold it again, or let's say we reject that level, then you take your puts back down to the next level. So the cool thing about SPY on this 1 hour chart is that we do have some really clear levels to play. The numbers are clear to see. You can see the rejections happening. You can see the trend line holding strong. So there's clear levels, but with clear levels means that you have to have patience and make sure that they break. This is not the week to go into playing SPY without patience because you 100% will need it. And a lot of times that's when people will get clapped because they don't get patient. They're like, okay, SPY's been falling. I'm just going to get into more puts, but they don't know about that monster trend line and they don't know about all the other supports that are there. So that is our SPY analysis. Another 1 hour analysis on Tesla. I played Tesla like 3 days in a row last week, so I'm going to make sure I add it to this video. I didn't plan on playing it, but I did have it charted, and I saw quick entries, quick exits. They were literally, I think I did like 4 scalps, and I was done. So Tesla 1 hour, another chart with clean levels. Clean levels, you can clearly see where it's been rejecting, where it's been bouncing, and the levels that we need to get above or below for continuation. So this is a 1 hour. And again, I have the Heikin-Ashis up just to give you guys a clearer view. I don't actively trade with Heikin-Ashi candles, but I do chart with them, and especially if I'm sharing with other people because it's clearer for them to see the move. What we're looking for more upside would be for it to break this trend line and that 197 resistance. So once we break 197, then you can look for more upside. Definitely need to make sure you pay attention to 200. I'm adding a line at 200 because 200 is definitely a level for Tesla to struggle. It's a psychological support and resistance level as well. So definitely make sure you watch 200. So 187 to 200, 200, 204. You play levels like that for more downside. So in the case that we hit the trend line and had lower, we would then test 192, which we've been kind of struggling to get below 192 over the last few days, as you can see. And we would then go to about 188, 189. So those are the like major levels for Tesla. Sometimes when you're trying to play levels from point A to point B, don't forget that you can always take your profit. You can definitely chart it to go from point A to point B, but if you have a goal in mind for your profit, if it's 30%, 40%, make sure you're securing your goal each time. You don't want to keep going into trades, seeing so much profit and then not getting any of it out. You want to make sure that you're securing it and you're living to trade another day. You can always come back the next day and do it again. Like you don't have to get so hung up on catching the full move. Switched over to the Tesla daily real quick just to go through what's happening here. Tesla rejected the 200 EMA really, really bad. It just wasn't able to hold above. That's at about 214, 215. Once we rejected that, it went to the 9 EMA and it really did fight to try to stay above. Friday, everything kind of fell. So Tesla did fall below that 9 EMA and it closed below the 9 EMA. So these are things to watch going into next week as well. So again, we're doing our multiple time frame analysis where we get our bigger picture of, okay, what's going on a daily chart. And then we go down to our 1 hour for the cleaner entry, the cleaner exits for day trades or even swings. So once you set your levels on the 1 hour, you then, like we said on SPY, you can go scalp on the 5 minute, 3 minute, and take quick profits. So then at the end of the day, you flip back to your daily, like, and figure out, okay, what levels did we close? Are we about to close below or above? What EMAs are we about to close below and above? And then you take it from there. So that's something to watch on Tesla. This is AMD on a 1 hour. I switched to Heiken Ashis again. I want you guys to see AMD did make this higher low. So we have a low and then we came in with a higher low on Friday. What we are what I'm looking for is to see if this higher low will push us through back up to $80 and then maybe back up to test this trend line up here. This thing has a lot of resistance to go through. As you can see, we have all EMAs to go through. We have a lot of resistance levels to go through. So it's something that you need to just watch and play by ear. Don't jump into calls prematurely because each line is a place where we can reject. So be careful with this. It just looks like a higher low is setting up into maybe that $83 range over the next week or 2 weeks or so. Something to watch. And then as far as the downside, of course, if we break below our like $76 range, we probably will chop lower. So AMD did move with Nvidia. They had earnings last week. Nvidia gapped up. I think they mentioned AI and it kind of sent them running crazy. Just flipping to Nvidia really quick, the level for Nvidia that it needs to get back below is 230. Nvidia needs to get back below 230 in order to get down. A lot of people are chasing the gap fill again. There's so many gaps open right now, especially with tech and them just having earnings. There's a lot of gaps out there. So what we want to try to play a safer gap fill is to wait for it to get below 230. You don't want to enter the gaps too early because there's no guarantee on the time that it's going to take for it to fill. So yes, we do have a massive gap on Nvidia. It goes back down to 211. So we're currently at 232. So that is a nice drop. However, most of those gaps do not fill instantly. And speaking of gap fills, this is Meta, which everybody's been watching the Meta gap as well. It gapped up after earnings on February 1st. We're almost at March 1st, and the gap still isn't filled. Here we are almost 1 month later, and the gap still is open. It has been trending lower. I do notice that, and it's been kind of a pain to watch because even on the 1 hour chart, it keeps giving us, like, it keeps going into that gap fill territory and bouncing. So the key that we've been watching was for Meta to break below this 200 EMA on an hourly. So it went there, it bounced, went there, it bounced, broke it and bounced. We did break below on Friday, but it actually like bounced back above slightly at close. So I mean, it's right on the line. I have an alert right here at 167.71, still set on Meta, but definitely wait for confirmation and then don't expect it to fill all the way. Like it might, but don't don't expect it to fill right down to the 150s. And also, real quick on Meta on the weekly, there's a possible bull flag setting up, and that's something you definitely want to keep your eye on. When Meta gapped up, it broke that 50 EMA on the weekly. It also gave a 921 cross on the weekly, and we have not been able to close below that 50 EMA on the weekly since. So right now, we look like we're setting up a bull flag. We have a flagpole and we have flags. It's not guaranteed yet because we haven't got a confirmation candle that we are 100% bouncing off of this level, but that's something to watch for as well. And if you're sitting in that gap fill, then you're going to completely get clapped by something like this. So wait for your confirmation on both sides. But this actually is a really nice upside play setting up on Meta, and it could easily go back to 195 just for this bull flag, and that would just take it back to the high after earnings. So, I mean, 195, and then it could even get up to that 200 at 210. So make sure you're unbiased on whether it goes up or down and be able to see both sides because this is a lovely upside to Meta. But if you already have your money in puts, sometimes it's hard to change your mindset to see the other side. So make sure you have a unbiased, clear view of all your charts at all times because this setup is really nice. So those are the charts that I'm watching going into next week. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't like being overwhelmed with too much on my watch list. Our earnings calendar for this week, there are a lot of companies up here. Some of my favorites on here are Oxy, Zoom, Salesforce, Snow, Macy's, Kroger, Costco. So those are the ones that I'm going to chart up and I'll be ready to scalp them on the next day. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys have a plan going into next week on something to watch. You always can join our free Discord community. I put all of this information in there every day. We watch charts daily. We confirm patterns with each other daily. All of that is in the free Discord. And don't forget about our trading workshop. We will do everything from intro to charts, how to set up your chart, all the way to advanced scalping, how to trade SPY and SPX. And you guys get to leave with a trading plan that walks you through taking $500 to 200K. So check out that. The link is in the description. Hope you guys have a great, profitable trading week coming up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.